Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome, New Life Live, family, friends, who's ever listening to us today. This is Chris Williams in studio for Steve today, and I am just beside myself, excited about today because I get to share space with two very gifted, very fun, and we were just talking about this, very helpful people. So one of my partners in crime, Dr. Alice Benton.
Howdy, folks. Hello, hello.
I love it. Howdy, folks. Say it again, but give me the full Minnesotan accent.
Well, then we got to add, oh, you betcha, folks. We're all here today.
I love it. I love it. And we also have, we haven't hung out in a while, but I have Amanda Anderson in studio today. Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. I don't have a cute accent.
So, but you have cute dresses and outfits,
Thank you.
as you know, online, and you can, and where can people follow you at?
I am at Amanda Anderson Writer on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And Amanda has this incredible book that if I can bring it serious for a moment, because I think it's really, really, really important. Adult friendships are tough. Let me talk a little bit about my own journey. As I grew up in this really fortunate environment as far as my peers go. This morning I was texting with 4 of my closest friends that I have known since I was 2 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I had Insta friendships so when we all kind of scattered about and I moved to different places, I had to form adult relationships and not realizing I don't know how to do that. In fact, it wasn't even a thing, but you wrote a book on it.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I wrote a book. It's called All My Friends Have Issues. And the title came from being in a workshop for anxiety and depression and hearing that having safe, sane friendships was really important if you struggle with mental health issues. And I thought, well, I'm in trouble because all my friends have issues. And I started thinking about, that my friends had, real problems and quirks and things that humans have. And so I kind of went on a journey of what is safe relationships? What do they look like? What's the difference between knowing what are the deal breaker issues that say these people aren't safe to be in my life? And what are things that we need to cover with grace? And then where am I the common denominator? So in writing it, discovered that I had always sort of struggled with codependency. And that was part of how I built my relationships is I didn't have good boundaries. And I was kind of looking not for friends, but for a wife. Like I'm married and I have a great husband. And then I wanted a wife who was like biblically responsible for meeting my friendship needs.
Yeah.
And that God was too good to give me that. That instead, now I joke, I don't have a tribe, I have bridesmaids. I have like a group of women who, don't necessarily know each other, but are healthy and safe and give me accountability with boundaries. And so that was what the book was about, trying to solve my own problems with female relationships.
Well, in talking about adult relationships, a question for both of you in the minute we have left here is that what's life look like, or what's it like for you to feel isolated or be in isolation or apart from friendship, and what's the importance of friendship?
Well, I'll say I'm actually more comfortable in isolation, at least on the surface of things. I'd rather be alone with a book than with other human beings. But I'm better when I leave my comfort zone and I try to be real with other broken people and try to recover and become better and more Christ-like. And that can't happen in isolation, even though I'm more comfortable there.
Yeah, and I like that distinction, Alice, because it's like I may not feel comfortable doing it. It may not come natural, but I'm a better person. I show up better. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I don't have people to kind of mirror myself back to me, then I get in a lot of trouble in my own head.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So we're going to be in studio for 2 hours today. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'd love to talk to you. We have issues. You have issues. Let's work it out. Give us a call.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 4th through the 6th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. And again, it's Chris Williams, Alice Benton, and Amanda Anderson as our special expert guest today. I do want to talk about something coming up this weekend. Very, very important. Every Man's Battle. It's in Washington, D.C. I love it when it's on the East Coast in those, like, what they call the megapolis area, because D.C. allows it to be in driving to distance for a lot of people. But the other thing that's great about living here is things are in flying distance as well. And there is no length that you want to get, that you want to separate from being able to get the life-giving help for our sexual struggles and addictions and brokenness that is offered in Every Man's Battle. So again, Every Man's Battle starts this Friday. It's in Washington, D.C. Let's break these cycles. Let's break the cycle of shame, sexual acting out, and let's get healthier. So if you're struggling with that, someone in your life, let them know. You can find us at newlife.com or you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. So with that, we're going to go to Daniel in Mesa, Arizona, listening on the internet. Daniel, are you there?
Yes, Chris. Thanks for taking my call today. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in, man. How can we help you?
So I have a, I don't want to say lifetime history, but just a very long history of sex addiction, pornography, and things like that. I've been married for 20, coming on 20 years. We have 4 kids, and came into the marriage with this sex addiction, and then eventually, had a very messy, drawn-out disclosure with my wife, and in the process of that caused her a lot of PTSD. She has many triggers and many things that really get to her about just being around me and things like that. And we are going through like an in-home separation right now, where we kind of move around each other in the house, and she just doesn't feel safe or trust me, and we kind of are going through that. It's very difficult. I just went through a very I want to say intense 2-week intensive where I uncovered a lot of things from my past and got a lot of good healing. And I'm active in SA, in Sexaholics Anonymous. I have 2.5 months of sobriety now, so got some good amount under my belt. But my question for you is, with my wife's PTSD, as we navigate this and I go through my recovery, I don't want to dictate anything that she does because she's on her own journey, she's getting her own help, but how do anything that you can provide, how I can navigate her triggers and her PTSD in relation to my own recovery so that I can stay on a good path and I can help her in her recovery as well?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, Daniel. And first and foremost, I commend you tremendously for getting into your own recovery process, pulling out all the stops to be able to work through what you've been carrying, including the things that are damaging to yourself, your family, and especially your marriage. And let me just start here, and then I'll turn it over to my colleagues here, is that there are 3 distinct and intersecting journeys of recovery that are happening at the same time, but in very, very different paces. One will be your recovery, one will be her recovery, and the other will be the recovery of the couple, of the marriage. And I want to make sure that that you keep in mind that those are distinct journeys. Because sometimes it gets really confusing and messy when we, like for us, as a person who struggles in this area, would use our marriage for our recovery, or that she would do the same thing for her recovery. No, that really there's a lot of individual stuff, as you're discovering in that intensive, that you need to work on in recovery, and then getting to the marital recovery. So there's a lot to share on this, but Alice, what do you suggest?
Daniel, I'm also very proud of you and how humble you're being in this phone call, very frank with what you did. Couple questions. How did you decide to disclose?
Well, this was about, say, 7 years ago. I was essentially caught, and I guess that was the issue, is I didn't really have a choice. We sat down one day and had to spill everything, but I only did it halfway, and then over the period of about a year, I just leaked more and more out, and I think that's why things were so impactful to her, is because it wasn't just a good disclosure like the ideal situation with the therapist. It was, and this, and that kind of situation. So.
And Daniel, can you give us a sense of how severe the acting out was? As in, was there an affair partner, involvement of prostitution? How severe was it?
It was just pornography and masturbation compulsively, but then I did have some, just from my end, like emotional affairs with some women at work, but there was no acting out, crossing the flesh barrier or anything like that. There was also some, definite not, I want to say sexual abuse, but definitely not some good things with my wife. I was acting out on her as well, so there was that component.
So, Daniel, your willingness to acknowledge all of that, it helps to generate ongoing empathy and compassion for your wife and how her process is going to be slower. It'll probably actually seem like she's going backwards while you're moving forwards. And a lot of women describe that their husband's success in sobriety is incredibly painful, disruptive, and disturbing for them. And that's so hard for a man like you who has 2.5 months of sobriety, and that's fabulous, and it is to be celebrated. You even said, I have a good amount of time under my belt. You do. I validate that. And to her, it's not even a drop in the bucket. To her, the pain is still coming to the surface, and she's probably waiting. Is there more? There's probably more, because I've gone through a year, half a year of there's still more that he's not telling me. So your willingness to hold the humble acknowledgement of how bad things have been for her and that she doesn't have any reason to trust you yet, not really. You got to give her an immense amount of time, and it will be so much slower than you want. But what I find is when a person who has perpetrated sex addiction is willing to say to their spouse, there's not a good reason yet to trust me, and you can take all the time you need. In fact, you shouldn't even trust me yet. But I'm going to prove, not with my words, but with my behavior. And over time, I hope you'll see that you can trust me. That will help settle her heart. Defensiveness and justification and pointing out how good you are, that deteriorates the trust. It doesn't build the trust.
Yeah, I've been a great self-promoter for a very long time, trying to tell her how good things are, how I'm changed, and things like that. And she just says, the words don't mean anything. I just need action. And I'm like, okay, I think I've gotten to a place where I understand that now. I'm just trying to look for something that will help me, kind of push me down that line to stop saying, look, everything's better, let's get back together, because it's not. That's not. I don't think that sounds healthy.
Yeah. Amanda, what do you think?
Well, again, Danielle, I want to affirm how honest you're being, and when you're saying, when she's telling you what's triggering for her, you're listening, you're able to repeat it back to us, which is amazing. Many women would, love that. She probably doesn't love it yet. It's not working yet. I just want to say one other thing was just to consider not using the word forgiveness when you're speaking to your wife right now. There's so much pressure for women in the church historically. Have you forgiven him yet? Have you forgiven him yet? And our experience of forgiveness on a spiritual realm is different than what we experience in our bodies and the pain that we're having. So you talked about triggers. She has PTSD. every time that she is triggered by a behavior or a thought and it's painful doesn't mean that she isn't engaged in an act with God of being able to forgive. She's just still processing pain. And I would argue that we don't really forgive until we have really named the depth of the pain that we experienced. So just be really careful about one thing not to do is, haven't you forgiven me yet? Are you working on forgiving me? Like, that is not your, that would be a word that would be really painful.
Daniel, I'd have you basically live in the comfort circle, which, if you don't know about it, is a structured listening technique from Mylan and Kay's book, How We Love. And it's what we're describing. It's validation, active listening, and it's staying in a receptive mode versus a defensive or justification mode. And it feels counterintuitive because it makes it feel as if you're saying, you should just believe I'm a bad guy, whereas when you want to prove you're a good guy. But when you stay in active listening and validation, it is the proof that you're becoming a good guy. And it's much more convincing than telling what a good guy you are. We also have a fabulous book, Worthy of Her Trust. And it gives so many effective steps to build the trust by actions, again, versus words.
And Daniel,
I do see that because
no, go ahead. You go ahead, Daniel. Go for it, man.
Okay. I've only come around to understanding that empathy point because you're right. Like, I do want to just be believed and that things are better. And there's times where we'll get into a conversation and she'll say, I don't feel like you've ever loved me. And, I get the defensive up in my head right away of saying, but I do. Look at this, look at that, look at the other. But then I have to step back and realize all the things that I've done and the way that things have been for so long. Like, I need to understand what she's saying and where she's coming from instead of just trying to discredit her view and her reality.
That's good.
You're on the right track, Daniel.
And so, Daniel, in that, let me talk a little bit about the triggers. She is not in control of the trigger. When the trigger takes over, it clouds everything. The trigger is activated, obviously, by pain and fear, but it manifests itself as shame, right? That's the power of the trigger, is that it tells her that there is something fundamentally defective with her, and that's really painful. Now, if she says that it's caused because of something you did, you're now in the line of fire. But then what happens is the shame contagion. And this is something we got to really, really pay attention to. Shame, especially in intimacy or closeness, has a contagion. So when she's triggered, what you've got to monitor inside of yourself is what her trigger means about you. Because her trigger could put you right back in the center of your own shame. And that creates just a whirl, circling the drain of pain and fear and frustration that just bounces off of each other. And so internally, what you want to be able to do is differentiate, meaning like separate out. She's in pain. That pain is overtaking her, and that fear and that shame. And so the meaning of what she really says is probably a little bit exaggerated. Not that it's not validated, but for you to be able to internally protect yourself from getting buried in your own shame. And that's a workout, man. That's paying very close attention to what's going on the inside of you. And I always come back to this, most of our emotional experiences, if not all of them, have some sort of bodily sensation. They shows up in our body, And so shame, the nice thing about shame, and this sounds really weird because it's not nice at all, is that it typically...
nothing nice about shame, but I guess.
Yeah, but at least it shows itself physically really well. And it's usually in two spots. In the center of our chest that just constricts and feels like a block of cement just landed on it. Or in our stomach, down in our gut, where it starts to twist and turn. And it's one is called fear and anger. The other one's disgust. The one in our belly is disgust. And so we want to pay attention to those, because when those take over, it takes over the entire system. And so learning how to mood and emotionally regulate in our recovery is really essentially important. And I'll say the last thing here is that though it comes with some sensitivity and you may take some fire for this, it would be continuing to encourage her to engage in her own recovery. I mean, November 11th, right, coming up in D.C., we have the Restored Conference. That'd be fantastic for her. There's trainings of partners of betrayal that therapists have, that certifications. It's looking for the resources that are out for her because she deserves recovery. She deserves to get her back. So, Daniel, we're going to send you a copy of Worthy of Her Trust, and we're also going to send you a copy of Intimate Betrayal. So, Sherry,
Healing the Wounds of Deception.
Yes,
You're
yes,
right,
Intimate. Yeah, Sherry's book. Those are fantastic resources for you. Thank you so much for calling in, Daniel. We encourage you and cheer you on in your journey. Pray for your marriage, and we will be back right after this.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 11th through the 13th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 1-year Bible for men or the 1-year Bible for women. These Bibles combine the best-selling daily Bible reading format with 2-minute daily devotionals written to create a one-of-a-kind devotional Bible that you'll love. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. I have with me being Chris Williams, Dr. Alice Benton, Amanda Anderson. We would love to talk to you. Give us a call. We're going to be here for a couple hours. 1-800-229-3000. Again, give us a call. 1-800-229-3000. With that, I want to go to Gay, she is a Club New Life member listening in Washington, D.C. on one of our great partner stations, WAVA. Gay, are you there?
I am, and I just turned my radio. I'm in the car, so I just turned the radio down because I know that is not a good thing,
yes,
right?
Ma'am. Thank you.
You got it. You're a wily veteran.
An astute, attentive listener. We can tell.
What do you have for us today?
Okay, so I'm having trouble hearing you. Hold on.
No problem.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So I am calling to tell Daniel that I would love to see his wife attend the Restore workshop in Washington, D.C. next weekend.
Yeah.
It was life-changing for me. And I think it would probably be also for her to have that opportunity to be with other women who've also had issues with, what do you call it, unfaithfulness and issues with pornography.
Yeah.
And I also want to put in a plug not only for that, but for sustained healing, the sustained healing groups.
Yeah.
When I heard the topic, when I heard that you announced Amanda and her book, All My Friends Have Issues.
Uh-huh.
I just want to say hello to all of my BBBB friends who are in my sustained healing group with Laura Mangan McDonald. We have the best group that meets faithfully every Monday night, and we all attended the Brains, Battles, Boundaries, and Bible workshop a couple of years ago, and we're in a group after that, and we've continued for 2 years now.
That's awesome.
And, I love that.
So, Gay, I'm gonna jump in, and here's why. Because one, we're limited on time, but two, as much as I love promotion, because I do, because I believe in what we do here at New Life, what I'm interested in like maybe a short sentence or a phrase. What was it like before you went to Restored? What was it like in Restored, and what has it been like since?
Oh, boy. Before Restore, my life was chaotic, and I was living a double life. The life of walking into church, holding hands with my husband, believing that we had the perfect marriage, and then the behind closed doors marriage that went on in our homes. And it was making me crazy. And what I discovered at Restore, although my husband's issues were not the same as any of the others that were there, what I discovered was that I had been betrayed, and that was the main thing, and that there was hope. There was hope for me. And when I came home on Monday after attending the weekend, I had lunch with my husband, and I told him that he knew that I'd been on the weekend, and I said, I've been praying this weekend for wisdom, and the Serenity Prayer is something that I pray frequently. And I said, I believe that it is time for me to make a change. I cannot change you. I cannot change the past. I can only change me. And so I'm going to need to move out. And I found within the week, I found a place to move. On Friday, we signed the contract, and I have since moved into a beautiful, brand new, a wonderful condo that I couldn't be happier. And now my life is full of peace and joy and no chaos and no stress. And it was life-changing for me. So I would say, as far as Restore is concerned, even if your husband doesn't have an issue with pornography or infidelity, if in any way you feel betrayed, Restore will give you the hope that you need.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that with us. Anything to reflect on her story with?
And you need to send me that book. I need Amanda's book.
Okay. Okay, so here is the admission. We actually don't have it in stock here at New Life, but if you go on to Amazon,
you can find it.
Hey, Gay, do you have Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, ask the screen caller about a book that you don't have, and we'll get it to you. But we are going to send you the year-long woman's Bible that
Misty Arterburn
Mr. Arterburn did. So we're going to send you that. That's going to come your way. So, again, thank you for calling in. Anything to add to?
Just you're a rock star. We can tell. You not only listen, but you take it in, you process it, and you put it into action, Gay. You inspire us. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. So again, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We want to talk with you today, and we're going to be right back after these messages. And real quickly, come on, Restored's coming up in a couple weeks, November 11th in Washington, D.C.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. As Terry just said, leading into this, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'd love to talk to you. We also love partnering with you. Being on the radio. This is what a lot of people don't understand. It's like we actually have to pay to be on the radio.
And it's rather expensive.
It's not cheap. Airtime is not cheap. But it is important. There's a reach that we're able to have, and that God is able to dispense His grace through our ministry here. That is just such a privilege. But the necessity of that is a financial engine that keeps it all going. And you guys are that financial engine. And we want to thank you for contributing to us. But we also want to continue to express the need and the need for that partnership. And, and to know that the way in which we give is not just into this nebulous or abyss of who knows what's happening. It goes into changed lives and tangible changed lives, because we see it. As one guy that attended Every Man's Battle said this: I want to thank this ministry for this life-changing event. I can now finally begin my journey of freedom after 60 years of addiction. We can't do that if you guys don't do what you do. There's many different ways you can join Club New Life, which gives you access to our library of videos, which is fantastic, and that's a monthly giving program that, again, it's just one of those things that is very helpful. One-time gifts are coming up the end of the year, where it's tends to be the highest giving time of year. Please consider us. And when I say consider us, just put us at the top of the list, number one on your call sheet for giving. That would be fantastic. But one of the other ways, especially coming up on the holiday season, that you can support us financially is that Amazon has their Smile program. And if you list us as the benefactor, they contribute a portion of those sales to nonprofits. And so if you look up New Life in Lake Forest, California, that's us. Put that in your smile when you're purchasing your...
When you're purchasing Amanda's book.
Yeah, purchasing Amanda's book, absolutely. Buying Christmas presents, doing all of that. So again, I can't thank you enough for partnering with us. Please continue your generosity so that we can continue our generosity. And with that, we are going to go to Karen in Annapolis, Maryland, also listening on WAVA. So, Karen, are you there? Karen, can you hear me? Karen, I can't hear you. That's okay. Karen, stay on. Stay on. We're going to come back to you later. We're going to go to Claire in Dallas, Texas, listening on KWRD. Claire, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, would love taking your call. But tell us what's going on and how we can help you.
Yeah, I guess I'm struggling with feelings of love. I am in my mid-60s. I am engaged to a really wonderful man. We are both divorced, and I feel like maybe at this point I am choosing love to love him rather than those feelings of love that just are all encompassing when you are in your 20s. And I'm wondering if that's a red flag of sorts.
Oh, that's a great question. So there's like that romantic love, where you get the butterflies and you get the deep mental obsession, which is just a fancy way of saying you can't stop thinking about him, and and there's an excitement and there's a spark, and that just doesn't seem to be there.
I've even had friends tell me, "Well, gosh, you don't sound very excited," when I'm like, "Oh, we're engaged." These are lifelong friends. They're like, "Oh, well, you're not very excited," but I and I guess a little bit of that is kind of true.
Yeah.
I'm not super excited. However, I'm kind of, I wonder how much of the past marriage and that breakup was pretty traumatic for me. It was not my idea.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I'm still harboring. One friend said, I said, I think I'm probably still in love with my ex-husband and always will be, but
could be.
Said, maybe she said you've not been the one to be on that side of a breakup before.
Yeah.
And
so let me ask this really quickly, just so I have clarity, and that is, what's the question for us?
The question is this kind of lack of infatuous love a red flag?
Okay, good.
Like a red flag, like you should not get married. So I want to ask a question. Why are you getting married? What would you give as the reason that you've decided to get married?
Well, I'll tell you, he is a very devoted Christian, and I have never married one before, and I am certainly along on my walk, and I think that we are better together for the kingdom, and I know he helps me. He brings me along in that.
How long have you dated?
So, yeah. Honestly, off and on about 5 years. He's in the mission field, while I've just kind of struggled to land on my feet. And I was not ready to be engaged a couple of years ago when he was ready. And I told him that. I said, I'm just not on my emotional feet yet. And I need to come at this from a place of strength and, knowing I'm ready. So I do feel ready. He's a good man. I'm happy with him. But, yeah, the excitement about a wedding and being a wife again, I kind of feel like I know what that is.
Well, you do. I don't hear immediate red flag because you don't feel like a 20-year-old obsessed teenager in love. That, to me, people get married for lots of different reasons throughout cultures and throughout centuries. Not, it's really kind of a Western concept that I have to have this passion in order to have a sustained relationship. In fact, we know that actually fades biologically. I've been married 23 years. I'm not as excited when my husband comes to the door. Like, if he had a dog, she would jump up and down. I don't.
Right.
Because I'm an adult human woman.
Right.
But I think the red flag for me, and this is a big question, is well, I've never tried being married to a Christian before, so maybe I should give that a whirl. And
yeah.
I don't know that it's a red flag. It's maybe a yellow one. Just that there's no one pushing you to get married, but your friends also kind of Job's counselors are saying, well, why aren't you excited? And so it can't be the right thing for you if your friends are telling you you're excited. But it's really your decision. It's not a right or wrong. Mm-hmm. It's are we choosing companionship where we are better together, where we are multiplying the goodness in our lives and for the kingdom, as you said. Mm-hmm. And you've given it a lot of thought, a long time, where you know someone's character. But you said you had a traumatic breakup, and the thing is we don't heal trauma through getting in a relationship with someone else. We heal trauma through the work that we do, the time we spend with God, support group.
Yeah.
So that's the other yellow flag, is if thinking, I will get over the pain of my last breakup by marrying a man with more integrity, then that's something to just spend some time thinking about. What do you?
Well, those are good. Yeah, those are good things to think about. I appreciate that very much. So, yeah.
Claire, I wonder if he knows that you don't have a whole lot of emotion about it and how that affects him.
Yeah, because you want to be honest.
I am honest, and I have told him, and I told him what my friend said, and he'll tell me he'll say, I've never been here before, meaning our relationship. His marriage was not born out of love on his part. It kind of got to be a coercion, and then it was too late, and the ball was rolling, so he got married, kind of a thing. But so he's like, I've never been in love with anybody,
and he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind that there's a lack of feelings on your side.
He doesn't mind. I haven't characterized it as that as much as.
Well, let me.
He'll tell me.
Claire,
go ahead.
I'm so sorry. You hear the music, so I wanted to jump in here, and it goes off of what Amanda and I think Alice was getting to. Marriage is about the meaning we place on it. Mm-hmm. Is it a meaningful thing for you? As I said, and I want you to be able to spend some time and search your heart on it. And the other thing that we know, that our unresolved pain and fears are going to block us emotionally from connection with other people if those remain there. So I would say, I don't know. I don't know if this is a red flag or not, but I think that you're not ready. And as a result of that, I think there's more work for you to do to understand what you want, because that will be very, very important. We're going to send you the Emotional Freedom Workbook that's going to really help you work through that. So, Claire, thank you so much for calling in.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 11th through the 13th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue. and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We would love to talk to you. Though we just have a few minutes left in this show, we're going to be in studio for another hour. So if we don't get to you this hour, hang on. We'll get to you next hour. If you still want to talk to us, feel free. Give us a call. Again, we would love to talk to you, 1-800-229-3000. And we're going to try Karen again in Annapolis, Maryland, listening on WAVA. Karen, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
All right.
Yay! We got you. You have a cheering section. So,
that's so good because I need it.
Good. Well,
we're echo or anything.
Yes. Well, we're here for that, but we're here for you. What can we help you with today?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your ministry. I had 3 questions, if you all have time for that. One is I was wondering how I could set some boundaries for myself. I have a lot of family issues going on, and I get pulled into them every single day. And so I need some help with that. The second thing is my brother suffers from schizophrenia, and I went to the court about 2 weeks ago, got a petition for an emergency evaluation for him. They picked him up. He went to the hospital. Sadly, the hospital only held him for the required 30 hours.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And then to let him go. So my question is to you, do you know any way at all where I could, get some help for him other than me going back to court? That was the second question. And then one more question was, how do I go about finding a good Christian counselor for myself? There are my 3 questions.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot in the time we have left, so.
That's okay. We'll try to get to all of them because those are all really, really important and good questions. Karen, this doesn't get enough credit. People who ask the right questions have a much better chance of getting the right answer. People who ask the wrong questions pretty much get the wrong answers. So let's start there. I want to go to Amanda with this boundaries thing. It's something that we're talking about, that you've done a lot of work on. So how does she set boundaries with family?
We think about boundaries in such an interesting way. We often think about boundaries as how do I say no better? What I want to tell you, what the purpose of boundaries is to make space for yourself in your life. It is so that you have room, spiritual room, emotional room for contingencies. Okay, here's what I mean. I had to write the other day, and I turned off my phone so that I wouldn't be interrupted because I had something God was calling me to do, and that was to finish a piece of writing that was due. And while I was writing, I was disturbed because a squirrel fell down my chimney and ran into my living room. And I couldn't have planned for the squirrel contingency. And so when we think about boundaries, I'm a recovering codependent. And so as a codependent, I thought, boundaries are, I'm supposed to go right up to the limit of what I can stand. But what I understand boundaries to be is I need to say no way before I get to my limit so that I can plan for the squirrel that's going to fall down the chimney today. Because something's going to happen that I'm not going to expect. So when you look at your day and you say you're having some family systems, people are calling. Maybe that means people are calling for rescue. Maybe they want to talk on the phone. You're getting a lot of text messages. You're answering people's questions. To wake up in the morning and say, what do I need to get done today? What do I desire for this day? And how much of other people's things can I do and still accomplish what God's calling me to? What's my, what my emotional capacity, physical capacity is today. So I just want to start with the ideas that boundaries are to allow for contingency, to allow for space. And if your whole life is being taken up by the problems of others, then it's time to set some parameters.
Yes. And if I can just jump in on that as well, is that I love what Amanda says, make space for yourself. I want to take that just one step a little bit deeper, and that is that boundaries exist to protect something valuable. I lock the doors at night because I believe the things inside of that place are valuable. If you don't value your space and yourself, it's going to be hard to set hard boundaries or firm boundaries, I would say. So take a look at that. Do I value me and my well-being enough to make the space for myself?
Okay. Well, that's very helpful because I like I'm sorry I didn't get the person's name, but I need to say no before I get to my limit. And,
yes.
I think the reason for the call is because I'm at my limit.
Yes.
So,
And Karen, God wants us to stay fueled up enough or to be able to get away, to get refueled so that we can continue generous giving. And when we find ourselves resentful or avoidant, or we're unintentionally helping people stay stuck in immaturity, it probably means we're giving too much. And some honest no's, or I'm not available for that, or I can't talk very long right now, that helps us to reserve energy to be able to generously give at another time. As you mentioned, your brother is schizophrenic and probably opposed or not cooperative with treatment. I want to point you to NAMI, which is Assistance for Family Members of Folks Struggling with Mental Illness. You probably have heard of guardianship as well. There's another legal term that I'm forgetting.
What NAMI? NAMI.
The National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Yes,
There are some legal steps family members can take to be able to establish some legal authority, even over an adult family member who's unable to care for themselves. And so that NAMI can help with that, and a consultation with an attorney can also provide more information. And as to your counselor question, we have a network of Christian counselors all over the country, even there in your area. And so if you stay on the line with us, we can get you connected with an option right there by you, well vetted by our staff here at New Life.
I even have
and NAMI is did you say it was NAMI?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to reach out to them.
And your first two questions, I want you to know that your first two questions are very related to each other. Because even for those of us who work in the mental health industry, when we are coming up against something like schizophrenia that can be incredibly resistant to treatment, we know there's good treatment out there. Sometimes it's hard to find, but there's good treatment out there, good medications out there. But it requires for the person suffering with that condition to be a willing participant. And that's what Alice was saying, is sometimes you can go some legal routes of guardianship to be able to help them get the help that they need. But I want you to know, Karen, that you are powerless against his mental illness. That is tragic, and as hard as it is to see him suffer in that you're not the person to treat him, right? And I think you know that.
I understand that.
But also...
Yeah, he took his medicine faithfully for 11 years.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh.
Okay, so he's compliant, yeah.
Doctor, but now, past year, just doesn't want anything to do with it. It's just such a change.
Yeah. Well, I am so sorry.
And it has a huge impact on the entire family.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And I'm so sorry about that. We're gonna send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. And we're also going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Mental Illness. And so those two resources are going to come your way. Stay on the line, because 1-800-NEW-LIFE is where you call to get connected with a good Christian counselor. Again, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have a nationwide network of great therapists that we vetted, and we want to help you get connected with them. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we ask God's great grace on your life.
Thanks
Talk
for
to you later.
listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.